right, in this video, I'm going to show you how to do these lovely spring skies with kites. Okay, this one I did with the paint set with the lighter colors. It looks nice. We're all going to start with the sky background, and in this sky I used light blue and had it fade into this orange. All right, and then this one, which I didn't think I was gonna like these colors, and I really liked them. I started with this blue and had it fade into this peachy color, and then even added a little bit of white there. Okay. The one I'm gonna demonstrate for you now is this. I did this picture using this blue that faded into that purple. All right, so no matter what set you have, I think this painting will turn out really well. I was thinking of this one for the older grades just because you're going to have to let the sky dry and draw the kite shapes. It's a little bit harder, but you can do this if you're younger, and if you need help, just hopefully you can ask someone at home for help. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and start with my blue and my purple and my larger brush of the two. I'm gonna go ahead and just start at the very top of my canvas and go back and forth. Skies go across, horizontal. You'll see paint welling up at the sides. So you can grab that with your brush. And you can also paint the sides with a wraparound canvas. You can see there. It's nice. It can look nice on a shelf or even just hung on the wall with the side of it painted. Okay, but you certainly don't have to. This part probably takes the longest just because it's a little time consuming with the size of the canvas and the size of the brush, but it will look really nice. And as you fade on down, I usually pick like a halfway point where I start to bring the purple in. Makes it look like kind of the sun has just set. Now that I'm about halfway, I'm going to start introducing my purple color, or depending on your paint set, your second color, whatever it is. And I really love the area where they just overlap like that. You'll see a beautiful purpley blue. You can even pull in some purple streaks up higher, whatever you want it to look like. And blend it as much as you want or leave it streaky. There's no rules. Make it look how you want it to look. And then again, continue all the way to the bottom. All right, now that I've covered all of my canvas, I'm just kind of going back in and adding a few little streaks of blue down by the purple areas, maybe a couple streaks of purple up by the blue. So it's a nice transition from one color to the next. Okay, if it's bothering you that the paint's a little thin and you can see the canvas, you might have to let it sit for a little bit and then add another layer. Just because I know I'll be adding kites and trees and things like that, I think that I'm fine with this for now. Okay, and when you're ready to move on to the next step, go ahead and wash your brush, and you're going to switch to your smaller brush that you were given. Okay, so there's that. And with this one, I'm going to use green for the trees. That's pretty obvious, and you can even keep out the blue if you want to throw in some darker shades. For the trees in this particular paint set, black is fine. You can have it be, so it'll look like a silhouette. All right, and then of course in the lighter set, it's going to be this light green. Now when I do the trees, just start at the bottom, and you're gonna do just dab, dab, dab. You can have lots of thick layers too. It'll take a little longer to dry, but it'll look nice. And I like the different flecks of color there too. I think the purple in between is fine. You can see areas where it's a little lighter and a little darker, a little thicker. It adds some nice texture. So I'm just dab, dab, dabbing, and every now and then I'm gonna go up and make a peak. So it looks like the top of a distant tree. This is probably the bottom quarter of the canvas, or even the bottom fifth of the canvas. With a lot of room for sky. There you can see the edge. I'm kind of doing them all about the same size. It's nice to have some too, for a little variety, maybe a lower tree. I'm picking a tree that is real tall. Maybe I want another tall one over here. You can kind of add to it as you go. And all I'm doing is little dabs, like an impressionist. There'll be a skinny tree. And there we go, all the way to the end. And again, feel free to wrap around the canvas if you want to add color there. I would avoid painting this way just because, you know, you can see right away it doesn't have that fun texture, that puffy tree-like texture. So when you do the dabs, and again, don't worry if it's thick, it'll dry. It will dry, okay? Now, this next part will be to add the kites. And so it is actually really nice to let this sit for a little bit so you can take a pencil and draw in the shapes. So give it, I don't know how long it might take, maybe a half hour or so, and then you can come back in and draw out the kites. If you feel you don't need to draw it with a pencil first, you want to dive right in, that's fine too. All right. Once your sky is dry, you can go ahead and start to draw in the kite shapes. If you'd like to have a moon or a sun, if it's a brighter blue sky, you can go ahead and draw a little circle in the corner. And I think anywhere between 3 and 5 shapes is a good idea to really fill the sky with some pops of color. To make it look like it's a windy day, you can have them at a slight angle. I like this one, it reminds me of just an arrow, and then sort of a bumpy line, 2 arches. And this shape is pentagon. With 5 sides. Maybe a couple classics. A diamond kite. So I like to make the bottom 2 diagonal lines a little longer than the top. We'll do one that maybe looks even further away. And we'll add some, could be a butterfly. Now you don't need to do this many. You can obviously make up your own shapes too. You can practice first on some scrap paper as well. Okay, and then I'll start to add in the colors. Use your small brush for this. Now, I'm left-handed, so I like to work from my furthest side to the right than to my left. So you might want to do the other way if you're right-handed. And go ahead and pick some colors. Make sure to go over your pencil lines so that you only see paint. I'm going to start with just filling in each shape and then adding strings and tails. Remember to change colors. Always wipe your brush real well. Fill in the middle. With lighter colors like yellow over a darker background, you may want to let that sit for a little bit and then add a second coat. And switch to another. This particular paint set probably has the most variety of color, but even if you have the paint set that has a lot of the neutral colors, you can still do a lot of fun things with your kites. I'll pull that one up really quick. Even just using black and white, and peach and brown, and there's the purpley color. And they don't all have to have patterns either. You could just do a solid color. This yellow really doesn't want to be seen that much. I'll make this diamond kite just a solid green, and then later I'll add the lines for the cross part in the center. Okay, once all your kites have been painted, you're going to want to add some strings and maybe some tails. And you can even add that part where there's the two poles that crisscross and holds it all together. So I'm just taking a darker color here. You can really use any colors for these things. And you don't have to do this on all the kites either. I like to see it on the triangle ones. I think it looks nice. You could wait for the kites to dry a little more and even use a fine tip marker. And when you add some tails, again holding the brush as upright as you can, go ahead and have it move in the direction you believe the wind is blowing. So it's fun to do. You can also pick areas that aren't just the center and some corners. I'll do a couple other colors here. A butterfly is flying off the page. tend to put my wrist down on what I'm working on to steady my hand. So as you can see, I'm turning my painting so that I don't press my hand right into the wet areas. All right, now I'm gonna add some string. And again, the string can be any color. I know typically kite string is white, but you might not have a white. I'm just gonna use a light color here. I'm gonna use yellow. And I'm not too worried if we don't see it super well. We'll have it be just sort of a subtle string in the sky. I like just adding a wavy line. And it can go right off the page. Yeah, it's a little mystery who the kite handler might be. Someone down below by the trees. And one more. We'll have this one go behind this kite. And again, if you have a thin marker, you'd rather draw these lines in. And there we go. Looks really nice. I hope you enjoyed making these paintings. It was really fun making these with you tonight. Enjoy your canvases and feel free to try the other picture too. If you did this one or the flowering tree, you can definitely still do it on paper if you don't have another canvas, because these paint supplies you could use again and again. All right, everyone, thanks for joining me, and thank you to the PTA for putting this together. Bye.